This is a review for getting started on the working drawings of the gear puller project. You can see I just opened up my renderings. I have copies of the working drawings found in Canvas, copied and pasted onto the page so I can reference those and look at those. And the first thing we want to try to do is create the working drawings for this yoke assembly and then add the dimensions to it. To get started on that, what I'm going to do is create a brand new design layer, and all of our working drawings are going to be on design layer 2. So I'm just going to create a brand new layer. And I like the stacking order to be in order. So I've set that up. I'll click OK. And now I'm in design layer 2. Now we have some options. You can see that design layer 1 is just all grayed out back here. I'm going to go ahead and use view layer options. And I like to have show snap modified turned on. That way I can click on these parts and pieces across layers. Now what I'm going to do to get started on this is I'm just going to make a copy of the yoke. And a second copy of it because I'll need the front view and side view of this. What I'm going to do to create the working drawings is take a look at these in the front view. And all I'm going to do is change the rendering format to hidden line rendering. When I do that, it'll show me what the working drawings are going to end up looking like. And I need dashed hidden line. Now, if we take a look at this, it's very similar to the working drawing given to you in Canvas. That I have on design layer 1, right here. So you can see that's what we're trying to create. And we'll also be creating the side view. Let's get started on this one first. First thing I'm going to do is just draw in a reference line. I like to have that so that I can easily draw circles and arcs from the ends of that line. That'll eventually be deleted. I won't need that. What I'm going to do is draw in the circles that I will need, and I can use my copy of my model right here to do that. You can see how easy that is to do. I'm just clicking on the center point in the same radius. I can do that same thing for the arcs, because the problem is when I convert this model to lines to get these threads, it's going to give me thousands and thousands of lines, but it won't keep the arcs and circles. I'm going to need to have those arcs and those circles to be able to create this working drawing. So I'm just going to use my arc tool. That one drew the wrong way, so I'm going to have to redraw that one. I'm going to put in where my hidden lines will be. At this point, I can go ahead And all I'm going to do is move this off to the left. Now there's other ways to do this. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but this is the way that I found to be the easiest. Move that 2 inches to the left. It just takes a second because of the threads. So now I've got a lot of my work here for my work and drawing done. It'll be a matter of setting these line thicknesses and classes to the correct line thickness and class. For example, we'll be using the ISO 02 for our dashed lines and setting those to 0.35. And you can see that's starting to take shape now there. Now, all I'm going to do for the threads that are in there is I'm going to take my original model and convert it to lines. Once I do that, and this will take a couple minutes to convert, but once I do that, it'll give me that threaded detail. Oops. I chose the wrong conversion there. There we go. It's back to the model. No, it's not. That's fine. Yep. So I'm going to ungroup that. And this is where I can go ahead and take the threads there we go. That's what I wanted. I can take the threads. I can just move them back. And I've got the working drawing started for the yoke. Now there's a separate canvas module that goes over what every line should be, the thicknesses and the line styles. But the big advantage now of using this method is that I can use my dimensioning tools to start to add in any linear dimensions that I need, any radial dimensions that I need. So whether it's going to be an external radius, I can use the different settings right up here to make it look just like it does on the samples. For all the dimensioning in there. I wouldn't be able to dimension this one that's converted to lines. It would simply recognize, it wouldn't recognize any arcs or circles, because when it was converted to lines, all of these arcs were converted into hundreds of little line segments. So that's how we would get started on that thing. Now let's just do the other side real quick. trying to line these up so they're lined up correctly. And what I'm going to do now is take this second copy of the yoke and just go into the side view, right view. You can see what that did for me there. If I go to view rendering, dashed hidden line, it'll give me what the right side view should look like when I'm all done with this object. I think this one's even easier to draw because all I'm going to do to get started on it is trace it with the polyline tool. For the circles that are shown on the working drawing, we'll just draw the outside diameter of the threads, which is a 0.5 diameter. I'm going to change the diameter here to 0.5. We'll also have one that shows the root diameter, which was a diameter of just 0.422. And then you'd be able to do the same exact thing that we were doing before. I'm not going to draw all of these in here, but for where the hidden lines are going to go, we can trace those in. There's a center line that extends out about 1/4 of an inch past the drawing. So I'm just going to make this center line about 1 1/4 inches long. Just move it over 1/8 of an inch. And that's how I get started on doing the working drawings for the yoke. Now you'll have to carefully, there's still a lot of work to do. You'll have to carefully check the page that's in Canvas for all the line thicknesses and styles. And then you'll have to use the dimensioning tools to carefully put in all the dimensions so they look just like this sample. I believe the dimensioning format that was used on the sample, most of them, I'll show you as soon as I can here. Most of the dimensions were just in the ISO format. So when I click on that, right over here, I can change it from architecture to ISO. And that's how you can get those to look just like the sample is. That's getting started on the yoke working drawing. Let me know in class if you have any questions.